So, morning guys, welcome to our daily, or if not bi-daily, chat about bass fishing. You'd think it would run out of shit to talk at this point, wouldn't you? Endless amount of shit in me to talk. No, I'm only joking. Thanks for all your comments, and I'm really glad that particularly newcomers are finding the videos helpful, right? Because I want to encourage as many people as I can to get into our sport. The website is delayed. I'm not even going there with you. It's an absolute headache if you're not an IT person and you haven't got 10 grand to spare. Then you're down an alley that just gets more and more winding as we go. On a more positive note, I haven't felt this well in 3 years. My health is improving beyond all recognition, so I just need to be careful and resist the temptation to go out there fishing and just stick to the treatment and finally, hopefully, get out the end of this long COVID. It was a funny situation that it didn't get a whole lot of coverage in the media. I think probably because they thought people would be too afraid if they knew what had happened to some people. But anyway, that's for another day. What I wanted to show you this morning, one of the things I hope to achieve with the website is, to make like high-end tackle, the stuff that really works, available to everybody from the novice to the expert. But when you're getting into this sport, you don't really know what to buy, where to buy it, like what works, am I wasting my money? And these products are not cheap, right? So you end up throwing money down the drain, right? So there'll be a massive link between this channel, obviously, on the website, in that I'll be discussing the products. I'll have tested them, I'll know the producers, etc., the brands, and I only intend to bring in brands that I know and trust and products that I've used, right? So for those purposes, like, I just have standard lure box. Okay, now I could do a day's fishing with that pretty much, and a couple of packets of plastics, no problem, right? So to give you some ideas of what I would have, I'd always have something big for the surface, right? Whatever floats your boat. Now for me, I love that. That's Secret Awashi Story 130. I'm going to listen to it. That bad boy is calling bass from miles around, right? I'll also have a smaller surface lure, right? That's the Story 90. Now, the other ones, and I don't have them here with me, they're at home in Waterford, but I'll fish the Sammy 80 and 90 quite a bit, the smaller fellas. Got some huge fish on those. Won't go anywhere without my Gancraft. Now, those are soon to be out again, made by Ultimate Fishing, and I have a bunch pre-ordered, so sometime early 2025, right? So that's some of the surface stuff. We just stick with the surface stuff at the minute. Then I'll have something different, and that's the XL salt skimmer from IMA. And you see the red bottom. When I'm coastal fishing, I love lures like that's sardine red belly, and whether it's from IMA or Tackle House, it's an incredibly effective color. I don't know why. I think it's that red belly when bass are sat either on the edge of a reef or tucked into a kelp bed. They see that red, they don't see in the same spectrum we do, and that red catches their eye. It's a bit like on a sunny day, a golden lure. It's literally golden, like the flash of the sun on the gold totally catches their attention and they home in on it. This is a lure I love. If I ever lose this, I'll lose my mind because I'm not sure I'll be able to replace it. It's a shoreline shiner, right? And it cost me €5. I got it in a bargain sale or whatever. I mean, I've often been fishing a channel and had nothing, you know, dribbling the bottom, fishing the surface, stuck this guy on and instantly got a strike, right? We'll talk a bit more about fishing hard lures another day. Like, you know, there are all sorts of ways to fish hard lures. Actually, I learned a lot about fishing hard lures for bass from fishing with professional pike guides and watching how they fish their lures, because your retrieve speed, the amount of action you're putting into the lure makes a lot of difference, right, on any given day. Then I'll have something small, right, and that's just a classic. That's the Vision 90. Now they're expensive. They're 33, €35 maybe. But Megabass are probably the best lure company in the world, right? You know, I don't know how long Megabass are around, but it's touching for 50, 60 years anyway. There's a lot of experience goes into building those lures. Those really are a very specific type of lure to be fished in a very specific type of way, right? So you jerk them down and then on a loose line let them wobble and swing around, and it's on that wobble and the swing that they tend to get hit, right? But I'll have one of those, right? Then I'll have something a bit like this guy, right, which is a little vibration metal from IMA, right, because it will cast a country mile, okay? And if there's a rip at distance or something that I need to get a lure in, or if the sprats show up, that's a lovely little imitation, right? Let me hold it the other way around. That's a lovely little imitation, okay? And it just swims it out, right? And just a nice steady retrieve. And I can fish it at a range of depths. Now I'm not going fishing that in skinny water, obviously. Then I'll have, back to surface lures, I'll have your classics, right? That's the 140 Pachinko in 500G. I mean, it's just a smashing lure. It caught me more fish last summer, honest to God. You know, I was fishing that in the night time, just on straight retrieve. And the amount of fish I got, that was just savage effective. And then there's just another Story 90, that one in Agi, right? It's a lovely colour, lovely natural colour, right? So I don't know if any of you have ever seen river smelt or anything up close, or lance or garfish, but they all have a similar kind of a colour. They have a dark on the back and then they've got this lovely flashy thing, right? But the point is, I'll have a number of sizes and weights and styles, right? And if I flip over, you know, then I'll have a proper jerkbait, right? And that's the Realis 110 suspending, right? So again, fished much like the Vision 90, it's a jerkbait, so you jerk it down and let it wobble and it suspends. So if I'm fishing that in current and I cast it up the current and I pull the rod down, it goes down, it wobbles, and it gets pushed along by the current, so it looks like a fish that's just wobbling around and and that's fishing it on a loose line. Then I'll have a few different varieties of metal, right? I really like these little Western metals. You know, some of the Western stuff not so great, but those I really like. That one there, when the sprat were around, was lethal. Now, granted, I was catching so many mackerel, right? but when you get it down through the mackerel to the bass that were underneath them, they were smashing it. Right? And then I'll have a whole range of soft plastics, which I tend to carry in clear pouches, right, so that I can see them, and I'll have a whack of different weights ahead, right, to deal with the different stages of tide and the flow of the current and all the rest of it. So let's just give you a little look in one of my boxes to kind of give you an idea. Now, I could do a whole day bass fishing with that. Is that all I bring? No, it's not. I bring loads like the rest of us, right? Because I always think there's just one more thing or whatever. If I had this, if I only had that. And sometimes it turns out to be that way, right? There's been a bit of a switch off from hard lure fishing. People have moved towards fishing soft plastics all the time. That's fine, except that, there are times when the hard lure will absolutely outfish everything else. I mean, I remember being on a reef with my good friend Stephen Flynn last summer. On one of the nights I could fish, and we were fishing a reef in West Waterford, and we tried everything, and I put up Suzuki and just pulled it over the top of the reef, and straight away, bang, fish on. Right now, that fish had been sitting there all the time, no doubt. It's just that nothing else had done it for him, right? He probably wasn't feeding. What I got was a reaction strike, right? So the lure annoyed him, so he got in and hit it, right? A bit like yourself, yourself. Somebody gets in your face. So, I'm joking, by the way. In terms of what we have coming, I've got a couple of products I haven't fished with, but I'm really, really excited about. One is the Fang stick from Raid Japan. I mean, they're like, I would compare them to the Do Life stick, except the 4.5 fat one. They look incredibly well made. I bought a couple of Raid little minnows for river fishing, and they were just phenomenal. The little blade on them, the weed guard and everything. Now, they were expensive, but they were worth it. So really high hopes for those. And the other one that I'm super excited about is the sand eel from, I think it's Band of Anglers. But it's designed by Patrick Sabile, who's a total hero of mine. Patrick Sabile is an awesome angler. Like, he's fished all around the world and designed all sorts of lures, and he's always been outside the box, right? These, I think, he designed for striped bass fishing, but they have a 4.5-inch version, right? And it's got a very clever head. I'll show you when they arrive next week. My order has just been shipped. So there are the jig head, and there are 2 holes in the plastic body, and there are 2 spikes in the jig head, and they go up through the holes in the body and hold it, so you've no need to glue it down or anything like that. And I mean, these things are tough. You can stretch them out like that and bang them back. I also have some Saori shads, which just a classic lure. I mean, I watched HTO did a copy of the Saori shad, and I saw Richard Cake, great lure builder and great angler from Dorset, take an 11.5 pound fish, out of a hole. I brought him to us. So look, this is a pinch point, let's fish it. We were getting a good few fish. I was hitting a good few fish on the hard lures, just letting them swing, and when they got to 45, giving them a pull, bang, fish would come out and hit it, And Richard went off to the right and just very, very patiently fished this big, long paddle tail just along the bottom. And for a while he thought he'd hooked the bottom, and then the bottom started moving. And I was like, oh Jesus. Actually, the picture of the fish is going to be up on the website. He sent it to me. It's an incredible fish. It's beautiful, and it was a single hook. The fish went back, absolutely pristine condition. So, you know, what a catch. He's a good man for catching doubles, is our Richard. And a great rod builder, and a general all around nice guy. He's one of the gentlemen of fishing. So those are coming in. I have some really cool duo products. Duo, I've upped their price a little bit, but not a huge amount. I have things I'm excited about are the Sprat and the Realis pencils, the saltwater edition. Those are coming in. I'm going to have IUX layers, which are like hen's teeth, right? Just delighted to get my hands on those in both sizes. I'll have a whole range of batchy heads, and I'm also going to have a bunch of BKK. I now have an Irish wholesaler, so I'm going to get a bunch of BKK singles, because most of those hard lures will get changed out to singles for next season. I'm going over the singles on all my lures. Most of my lures have singles anyway. I left trebles on some, and I find just no. It does too much damage. You hook the fish two ways, right? You hook them once here, and then you tend to hook them in the side of the face, and they're pulling against you, and you're just doing them damage that you don't need to do them, right? And I know from fishing Charles Nelson's Seawolf lures that single hooks, you know, I don't miss a hook up, right? I just want to show you something actually while we're on the topic of singles, right? Long before Weston did this, I was doing this with my Seekers, right? Savage Gear Seekers, because they are a decent metal, right? So you see the assist. Now I don't like the flashy bit, to be honest with you. I'd cut that off. But I was dropping an assist off the tip of the metal, right? And I'll tell you why, because I was fishing the river at home, and like at its widest point, it's a mile wide, right? So, you know, I'm right in the mouth of the estuary, and we don't get any channels or mud flats. It's a single river, like it's huge. I mean, it's a phenomenal piece of water. But it has a shipping lane that's dredged all the time, right? And the bass tend to travel along the edge of the shipping lane, right? So I was on a rock, and I was casting into the channel on the dropping tide and letting the seeker drop down, you know, and it drops a bit like that, right? So I was getting hit on the drop all the time. I was striking and nothing, right? Or maybe I'd get one fish every 5 hits or whatever. And I thought, Jesus, what the hell is going on here? Like, I got a couple of nice fish out, but I was like getting really frustrated. So I went into my local tackle shop, John, in Waterford, England. It's a fantastic shop. John is a good friend. He's always had the finest of gear there. And he had some assist hooks from Savage Gear, so I stuck those onto the Seeker. And I went back. It was late September, so there was a load of sprat in the river and stuff. And I went back to the same spot the next day at the same state of tide, this time with the assist. And every tip I got on that metal lure, when I struck, I was into a fish, and they were all hooked on the assist. So the fish were hitting the head of the lure, right? So it just goes to show you, it was tiny little tricks make a huge big difference, right, to your catch rate. You know, anybody who's fished soft plastic worms or like Senkos or Evo Bass or any of those types of baits in the night will know all about things that go bump in the night. Like you get more bump, 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 and they just won't take it, you know. That's where the Seawolf lures have been lethal, because they have that middle assist. So the slightest tip on that lure and it's bang, and you're into them, and they're always hooked on the middle one, always. And of course then you just one single hook, you're not doing the fish a whole bunch of damage, back it goes. So yeah, so look, I don't know is the honest answer as to when I'm going to have the website up and running. It's turning into a real headache. It's very difficult to do. Anybody in Cork who's any good at web design and wants to earn a few quid, give me a ring. I'm probably going to have to do that, actually. I'm probably just going to have to hand that design over to somebody else, because I'm just spending so much time trying to get that done. I'm trying to do this course of treatment, trying to keep up with the YouTube channel, trying to keep up with accessing more products, more wholesalers, you know, trying to raise seed capital. You know, there's a lot goes into it, right? And I haven't been the wellest man in the world, so you know, I don't want to be expending energy on stuff I don't need to. So that's about it. That's about it for today. If I miss any questions or stuff in comments, guys, I'm not being rude. It's just I'm incredibly tired, and I don't always have the energy. I don't check my YouTube or whatever. Remember, the competition is still running. It's open until the 19th or 18th of December. I'm going to do the draw on the 18th and announce the winner on the 19th. And there's some nice little bits in there, and there's a packet of those raid lures in there, so it's worth entering. If you're watching these videos, please subscribe. It does make a difference to me, like, you know. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Pretty much it. We're into December now. We'll start thinking about sea trout. When I get home, pike and sea trout. I'll do a bit of lure fishing for pike, definitely. I'll have those big Murius mouse. Will be dragging them along the bottom of the lake and see if we can stir a monster. You tend not to catch many fish on the lure at this time of year, but if you get one, it's usually a pretty good one. So I love my pike fishing, like I really, really do. In June, I'll finish on a story. In June, I got the headbanger lures to a lure called a Spitfire. So it's a fish, it's a swim bait, but it has that headbanger head attached to it, right? Which is basically like a popper, but it just wobbles along. Like, you don't pop it, you just, you know, straight retrieve it, and it gets the swim bait thing, and it pushes a load of water and what have you. And I was up being cheeky in the shallows just at the end of May. The water was still cold enough to be pike fishing, and I just came around a corner, and I was actually getting to a spot where I was going to do a bit of casting with the fly rod, but I was trolling the Spitfire, and I saw this nose come up behind it and just bang it. And I thought, holy Jesus. And I had the Polaroids on me, and I saw the size of her. And she went backwards. I saw her go down. I thought, oh, she's coming back for it. And next thing, she just exploded sideways onto the lure. Well, my God, the excitement. Trying to turn the engine off, right? And stay tied into fish. Then trying to get the net ready. I mean, fishing for big pike by yourself, it's one hell of an experience. It's so much fun, though. She turned out to be 111 centimeters. I didn't have a scales to weigh her, but she was fat. I mean, she was fat. She was well post spawn. She'd fed up, you know. What a scrap. Yeah, what a scrap. Pictures on Instagram actually of her. She's just a beautiful fish. And of course with the surface lures she was just lip hooked, so it was just a case of dink. And I fished barbless hooks for pike. That's the rules in our lake, so which is dead right, because we return all the fish, right? So if you stay tight and fish and you're fishing barbless hooks, you don't lose fish, right? Sea trout, bit different, right? You will lose fish, but so what? Like, salmon the same, right? But so what? Like, so what if you lose them? Like, I don't go fishing just to catch fish. Like, if I was going fishing just to catch fish, I'd be better off with the diamond jumper and the yellow trousers, like, and the white shoes with the flappy bits on them and everything. And the 18th green. Oh, with Josh. Oh, no, thank you. Oh, God. Golf. Yeah, I could think of things I'd rather be doing. But I probably just offended the whole golfing community, but not to worry. Yeah, fishing's better, by the way. It's more exciting, knocking a little ball around a beckoned field. Honest to God, why would you want to do that when you could be out chasing 30-pound pike? So, or 10-pound sea bass, even better, So that's it, guys. I will continue to post, and when the order arrives next week, we'll have loads of stuff to show you and talk about and everything else. And even if the website isn't running, I can do business over the phone, and we can use PayPal and all that other stuff. If you see stuff you like and you want, I have all the postage rates. I have an account with Unpost and stuff now. Seem to be about the best. So that's it, guys. Stay well. I know I am. I'm improving all the time. I cannot wait for spring. I'm going to give it such a hammer. I'm going to finish on this. I got a pair of Grundon's wading boots, and they are the best wading boots I've ever had. I would have said that about, I had an pair of Orvis that lasted nearly 4 years. They were incredible, but the problem with them was the cleats for your laces were metal, so eventually the salt ate them alive, right? But on these Grundon's boots, the cleats are plastic, and they also have a fantastic stud system, which is arriving next week, and I'll show you. It's hexagonal, right? So they have incredible rubber sole grip on them anyway, but the studs they're totally different to the tiny little ones. These won't pull out; they sit flat into a purpose built hole or whatever. Now, like all Grundon's gear, not cheap, right? But you get what you pay for, essentially, right? I also bought a Grundon's jacket, and it is the most comfortable jacket, right? Now, it happens to have a big Ultimate Fishing whatever logo on it, because that's who I'm one of my suppliers, right? And to be honest, they have the best lure products in Europe. It's that simple. If you're a hard lure fisherman like me, you need Exorus, you need Duo, you need Megabass, and they've got some really exciting new products and new lines. They've got a new headlamp in as well, and a new custom lure bag. The headlamp is incredible. It's hand operated, right? So you don't have to touch any buttons or anything. It'll just come on when you put your hand in front of it or whatever, which is so cool. And it's autofocus, right? So it straight away zooms down onto the you're doing. I haven't seen it up close, but it sounds pretty impressive. I'm looking forward to testing it. So that's it, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. If you're out there fishing, tight lines, and stay safe and stay warm. It's getting cold. Okay, mind yourselves. Bye bye.